there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So in this video we're going to be diving back into the DC universe, and we're going to be talking about 8 previous projects over at the old DCEU that were scrapped, that never got made for whatever reason, that we feel that James Gunn over at the new DC Studios should consider revisiting. So it's going to be an interesting one to talk about that old DC content that James Gunn should consider revisiting that never got made. So we're going to jump into this comicbookmovie.com article, take a look at this list of the 8 previously scrapped projects and see which ones, might be worth James Gunn's while to kind of revisit and potentially bring back with the new DC universe. So, 8 scrapped DCEU projects DC Studios should consider revisiting for the new DCU. So let's go down and take a look at this list here. So starting off at number 8, the Gotham City Sirens. So yeah, I think a lot of fans would be very, very happy to get this on screen. Seeing Poison Ivy, Catwoman, and Harley Quinn kind of having that kind of really fun comedic chemistry playing off of each other. These characters are larger than life, and a lot of DC fans would love to see these 3 female sort of villain characters here just in a movie. I think it'd be great, like, to have some comedy in here, to have some fight scenes, like all 3 of them fighting crime at the same time, fighting whoever they're supposed to be fighting, but comedic, funny, action packed. I think it has all of the kind of recipe that fans are looking for in a DC theatrical movie. So let's have a read here. Despite receiving mostly negative reviews from critics, 2016 Suicide Squad was a box office hit. Yeah, didn't it make like 700-800 million, something like that? Like, it made a lot of money at the box office. Following its release, the plan had been for director David Ayer to return to the DCEU for a spin-off focused on Harley Quinn, Catwoman, and Poison Ivy, titled Gotham City Sirens. Yeah, that was a project that was kind of, it was talked about online for quite a while. It never came to fruition. It was never made. Fans were quite disappointed about it. I remember talking about it at the time. Based on social media posts from the filmmaker, Black Mask was being lined up as the movie's big bad. Ultimately, some of the project's ideas were recycled for Harley Quinn Birds of Prey. That movie, I'm sorry, I love Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn, but that movie was just not good. That movie should never have been made, in my opinion. Which was in place of Catwoman and Poison Ivy, featured early versions of Black Canary and Huntress. With that in mind, some changes would need to be made for the next iteration of Gotham City Sirens, but bringing Ayer back to finally deliver this movie, well, it might help put an end to those #release the Ayer cut demands. We're not sure that that's the best idea. DC Studios is all about a fresh start, remember, but this would be another showcase for Margot Robbie. They don't necessarily have to bring back Margot Robbie. There's been no confirmation that she's coming back, as far as I know, for James Gunn's new DCU. I don't think they've cast Harley Quinn yet, or I don't think he's confirmed that she's coming back, as far as I know. But yeah, I think a lot of fans would definitely be happy to see this on screen. I would love to see it. The chemistry between the 3 characters, the comedic timing, the action, it kind of ticks all the boxes, and I think it would be a great project to revisit, that's for sure. So moving on to number 7, Nightwing. So it was way back in 2017 that Warner Brothers announced plans for the Lego Batman movie director Chris McKay to helm a live-action Nightwing movie. It was unclear how they would connect to Zack Snyder's plans after he killed Dick Grayson, but excitement among the fans was high. However, as time passed, it became clear that the project had fallen by the wayside at Warner Brothers. Flops like Justice League and Wonder Woman 1984, wow, that movie, whoo! That thing with that guy and transitioning into somebody else's body, and then Diana, like, having sex with him, like, it was just so creepy and so weird. That movie put me off in so many ways. Would have done little to help matters, confining Dick's story to the So-So Titans TV series that started life as a DC Universe streaming app exclusive. While Brave and the Bold doesn't seem to be going anywhere fast, we'd imagine Gunn's plans to establish the Bat family in the DCU as soon as possible. From there, Dick should absolutely get his own movie beyond the Dynamic Duo animated movie, which may or may not be canon. So yeah, I think they should establish Nightwing first in the Bat family. Have fans getting used to the actor who's playing the role, get fans sort of like connected to him on an emotional basis within a Batman movie, and then kind of spin off and then have a solo Nightwing project. I would love to see a Nightwing solo movie, but does Nightwing, the actual character, is he popular enough to sustain his own movie, to generate a big box office revenue? I'm not sure Nightwing is. I'm not sure he's there at the moment. DC could craft a great kind of Batman movie, have Nightwing in there, get fans emotionally attached, elevate the popularity of the character to somewhat, and then have a solo spin-off project. I think that would be the best way to go, in my opinion. So, moving on to number 6, The New Gods. So, Warner Brothers never had much of a plan for the DCEU, explaining why we started seeing movies take shape that contradicted what other filmmakers had planned. Zack Snyder, for example, had huge ideas for Darkseid and Apocalypse, but Ava DuVernay was still given the green light to move forward with The New Gods. While we're sure DC Studios wishes to distance itself from those past missteps, giving DuVernay and comic book writer Tom King the chance to revisit what sounded like fun, ambitious approach to this cosmic corner of the DC universe would not be a bad thing. Darkseid was going to be the front and center in this Jack Kirby-inspired tale, with Mr. Miracle and Big Barda serving as the lead protagonists. Regardless of whatever the changes in the creative team, we'd say this tale is like... let me say that again. We'd say a tale like this is exactly what DC Studios needs to deliver a type of story in the crowded superhero landscape. Yeah, but the thing that worries me about this, The New Gods, is it too inside baseball? The average everyday movie-going audience, they probably don't know who the New Gods are, they don't know the story, they don't know what it's about. It may be a bit too inside baseball, inside the comic kind of nerdom. I mean, would it sit well with fans? Would they get on board with it? Is it too complex of a narrative and a story for the everyday movie-going audience? I feel that it could be, and I feel that that's part of the reason why a project like this may not get made for a very long time until they establish the New Gods and who they are, where they come from, their origins, and kind of, you know, have fans more familiar with these characters before they greenlight a New Gods project. So yeah, I think it might be a bit too unfamiliar to the general movie-going audience. That's kind of my feelings anyway. So, number 5, moving on to Lobo. There's a big kind of rumor and conspiracy out there that Jason Momoa has been cast as Lobo. It could be a great thing if that's the case. I really hope that is the case, because a lot of fans really want the dream casting of Lobo, you know, to be played by Jason Momoa. So there's been chatter about a Lobo movie since 2009, with various iterations getting close to becoming a reality before nothing happens. The character could easily hold his own in a feature, and this is one project we believe DC Studios has at least considered. When the DCEU ended with Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, it sounded very much like Jason Momoa had been promised this role. However, similar to how we were told DC Studios was excited to one day work with Henry Cavill and The Rock again, it's possible that this was meant to simply soften the blow for Momoa and fans after he was basically fired. Whether it's him or another actor, Lobo deserves a place in the DCU, and it's kind of movie you have to believe would be well suited to Gunn's zany, R-rated taste. Perhaps we'll get a cameo in Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. Yeah, I think Lobo without a doubt is going to show up in the new DCU. So revisiting this project, I'm not sure I think it's going to be a long time before we get a Lobo solo project from James Gunn. But I do think the Lobo character will pop up in another project. I'm not sure what kind of project. Maybe Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, like it says here. That's absolutely possible. But I don't think we're going to get a Lobo solo project anytime soon. I just don't see it on the horizon. But it may come in the next sort of 5 to 10 years. That's a possible thing. Obviously, it hasn't been announced yet. But I think the likelihood of him popping up in another character project is pretty high at this point. So I hope that we do see him, because he's a great character and DC fans love Lobo. Supermax, number 4. So, Green Arrow escaped from Supermax, which surprisingly isn't based on a similar comic book arc, predates even the DCEU. And it would have been a titular superhero framed for a murder he didn't commit. From there, it was set to focus on his quest to escape from a high-security prison he's been placed in. Along the way, the hero was going to face off against several instantly recognizable comic book villains, including the Riddler, Lex Luthor, and Joker. Skipping an origin story altogether, Supermax would get straight to the point, and David S. Goyer and Justin Mark's script was more of a prison escape movie than a typical superhero outing. I think a superhero movie, there's also a prison escape movie? Have we actually ever seen anything like that before? I'm trying to think. I'm not sure that we have really seen like a full-on prison escape type movie, like kind of molded into a kind of comic book material based movie as well. I'm not sure we've ever seen that. Guys, if we have seen that, let me know down in the comment section, but I can't think off the top of my head of a prison escape movie that's kind of centered on a comic book character or material. I can't think of anything like that. That would be something fresh, a unique take on the comic book genre that maybe, you know, would go down quite well with the DC fan base. So I'm, you know, color me interested on that topic, yeah. It's a real shame that this never became a reality, though it would have been a badass way to introduce Green Arrow to the DCU and flesh out the wider franchise by introducing some high-profile villains who have already been placed behind bars by the heroes who already exist in the world. Yeah, I think that would be fantastic as well, showing us the villains, showing us a prison escape, and Green Arrow as well. A lot of fans, ever since the Stephen Amell Green Arrow CW show, where the character was popularized massively, a lot of fans want a Green Arrow project. Whether he turns up like Hawkeye in somebody else's movie, or whether he gets a solo movie project, Green Arrow is a fantastic character, and a lot of people would love to see him. A prison escape movie for Green Arrow would be a fantastic idea. I would love to see that. So number 3, Batgirl. Let's move on to that. So obviously there was the whole debacle with Batgirl being scrapped. They fully shot the movie. Michael Keaton was in it. They scrapped the movie, did a tax write-off because they didn't believe the movie would be any good. So, when Warner Brothers was acquired by Discovery, we expected some big changes, but the decision to scrap the near-completed Batgirl remains one of the studio's most shocking and controversial decisions. Despite featuring in The Heights breakout star Leslie Grace as Barbara Gordon, Michael Keaton as Batman, J.K. Simmons as Commissioner Gordon, and Brendan Fraser as the villainous Firefly. So yeah, the cast was pretty damn stacked for that movie. The studio came to the conclusion it simply wasn't worth finishing and releasing the HBO Max movie. A lot of fans and filmmakers were left reeling by that, and finishing Batgirl or even starting from scratch with a new creative team might go some way in salvaging the studio's tarnished reputation. Gunn could punch up the original script for reshoots if needs be, but we ultimately just like to see any version of Barbara Gordon given the chance to shine in a solo outing. I think they will consider it in the near future. They're building out the Bat family within Brave and the Bold. They're introducing us to some of the Bat family characters. So if any characters connect relatively well with the audience, then I think James Gunn will then consider doing solo spin-off projects with like Nightwing, Batgirl, Catwoman, you know, characters like that. Whichever characters really land well with the audience and have great chemistry on screen, then they'll probably start, bringing up plans and putting projects forward as to what Bat family characters they want to do solo projects on. So we'll have to wait and see how that pans out. Moving on to this. One of the most requested projects from any, DC fan anywhere ever talked about, Batman Beyond. This is a project that fans have wanted for years, that they've been asking for, that DC is just declining to give fans. And a lot of fans just absolutely want it so bad. So fans have spent years hoping for a Batman Beyond movie, like I was just saying. And it turns out that the previous DC film bosses were planning to head down the route with Michael Keaton's Caped Crusader. After serving as a mentor to Barbara Gordon and Batgirl, Batman was going to train Terry McGinnis as his successor, giving the DCEU a new Dark Knight, allowing Robert Pattinson to continue playing Bruce Wayne in the Batman franchise. Adding salt to the wound is the fact that Michelle Pfeiffer was being eyed to reprise the role of Catwoman. Wow, seeing Michelle Pfeiffer coming back as Catwoman, that would be all kinds of crazy. This still has the potential to be a must standalone feature for the DCU, and while we'd probably tap a new screenwriter in place of Christina Hodson, DC Studios producing this as an Elseworlds project and sending Keaton off on a high note would be, well, beyond brilliant. Gunn did claim to really love The Flash after all. Yeah, The Flash was trash. I don't want to talk about The Flash. It's not worth my time talking about. But yeah, having a Batman Beyond project as an Elseworlds project would absolutely be incredible. Would they ever do an Elseworlds project with Batman Beyond? I think if the fans want it enough and the box office potential is there, I think James Gunn will prevail. He'll come to his senses and DC will finally start to try and put together a Batman Beyond project, because I think it would do so much, it would do so much money, revenue at the box office. Fans have been wanting it for years. And it's a Batman project as well. Batman always does well at the box office. So, yeah, let's give us a Batman Beyond, James Gunn. Make it happen, James Gunn. So, moving on to number 1, the final on the list here. So, Crisis on Infinite Earths. This is something they would have to build up to. It's not something you could get to right away. It's a massive kind of multiverse story here. So, the original plan for the DCEU was for it to culminate with the Crisis on Infinite Earths movie. We're unsure what the plan was from there, but the idea was for multiple versions of favourite characters to share the screen, including Affleck Keaton Batman team-up. Would this project have been any better than those ghoulish CG cameos in The Flash? Oh my god, yeah. Like I said, The Flash is just so bad, I don't want to talk about it. We'll never know, but it's hard not to wish we'd seen this one become a reality out of curiosity alone. It's true that many of us have grown tired of the multiverse, so why is this even included here? While Crisis remains one of the most popular and iconic DC Comics stories ever told, that's absolutely true. With a fan like Gunn now calling the shots, just imagine what new version of the story might look like, particularly if in place of bringing back familiar actors, he takes a deep dive into the comics and instead focuses on there being multiple versions of these characters unconnected to previous adaptations. Yeah, this is the thing though, isn't it? Like it says here, fans have grown tired of multiverse shenanigans. Over at Marvel, fans are just like, the multiverse saga over at Marvel just didn't land well with fans whatsoever. So DC trying to go down a heavy multiverse route, I think it would be a gigantic mistake to some degree. It hasn't landed well with Marvel fans. There's no reason to think that going heavy into multiverse over at DC is going to land any better. So I think James Gunn needs to sidestep the big multiverse stories for the meantime. There's no reason it couldn't work out in the future if they build out the DC continuity, build up to the Crisis on Infinite Earths, potentially in the future, way in the future. But at the moment, multiverse isn't landing well with the movie-going audience, so I think they should sidestep it for the meantime. But anyway, guys, that's number 1 on the list. That's the list there of the 8 scrap projects that DC should consider revisiting. Not necessarily that they should make, but they should consider revisiting at least somewhere down the line. Or make something that kind of looks like these projects, but could be a little bit different. So let's go back and summarize these projects again quickly before we finish off. So number 8, Gotham City Sirens. Then we got number 7, Nightwing. Number 6, The New Gods. Number 5, Lobo. Number 4 is Supermax, a Green Lantern prison escape type movie. Number 3 was Batgirl. Obviously, that was scrapped, and they could potentially kind of rehash this movie. Number 2, Batman Beyond. I think of any on this list, this is going to be the most likely movie to get made in the near future, a Batman Beyond. And number 1, Crisis on Infinite Earths. I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon because multiverse just isn't landing well with audiences, like I already said. So that's the list there of the 8 scrapped DCEU projects that James Gunn should consider revisiting at some point, or kind of make a version of these movies, whether he changes it up massively or keeps them relatively the same as what's mentioned here. But guys, if there's anything that you want to add to this list, jump down into the comment section, add your kind of own projects to the list. If there's any DCEU projects that aren't on this list or that I'm not thinking off the top of my head, then add your own down into the comment section. Also, let me know, what do you think on this list of these 8 projects? What do you think has the most likelihood of being kind of remade over at the new DCU studios from James Gunn? Which would you choose to have, which project would you choose to be revisited if you had the choice? Thank you so much, guys. Can't wait to read your comments on this one. It's going to be interesting to hear what you guys have to say. As always, thank you so much for watching this video. Hit that like and subscribe. Being a subscriber is free, and it goes a long way to supporting the content here, guys, so I'd really appreciate that. Thank you so much. I will see you in the next video.